What's up, Rewired parents, aka Spark Nation? It's good to be with you today, and I am glad you pressed play. So let's dive straight in with a moment that we all know too well. You walk into the room, candy jar lid's a little crooked, and your kid, or maybe if you're a teacher, you walk in your classroom, student looks you dead in the eye with candy juice all around their lips and says, "I didn't take it." Your chest tightens, your voice wants to sharpen, and your brain is like, "Oh no, you didn't. This stops now." Now, here's the twist I want to explore today. The biggest danger in that moment probably isn't the lie. Actually, it's your storm. And if we can flip that one thing, your storm, we can change everything about honesty, trust, and behavior because we lower the price of truth. So today's episode is a playbook for doing just that. So we will, one, unpack the hidden crisis under a child's lie. I'll give you a 90-second reset you can run in the heat of the moment. We'll do a quick guided practice together. I thought that would be a great idea. And I'll point you to a talk that I recently gave that will supercharge this shift. So this is not about letting kids off the hook. This is about making truth actually possible. So let's go. Picture this. You're at work and your boss texts you or gives you a message on Slack, whatever. Can you jump on a quick call? And they start grilling you about the missed deadline. Their tone is clipped to questions. Each one feels like a trap. It's a trap. And you calmly confess every detail, right? Do you do that? Or do you maybe deflect, minimize, stall, and maybe even fib? Your heart's pounding, your mouth gets dry, and your thinking brain gets overwhelmed, and your survival brain is in the driver's seat. And you know that you shouldn't be deceitful, and you're not trying to be, but you're trying to play it safe because the odds are huge, right? The risk is huge. This is your job. And kids are no different. In fact, their smoke detector and fire alarm, the amygdala, is actually more sensitive, especially if they've lived through trauma, they're neurodivergent, or they have a history of unpredictable adult reactions. So when our eyebrows lift and our shoulders start to tense and our questions turn into cross-examinations like they're on the witness stand in court, what's their threat system going to scream? Danger, danger. And when the body screams danger, truth gets costly. And the lie becomes the, shall we say, cheaper option. Let me say that again because it reframes everything. Honesty follows safety. If the body doesn't feel safe, the truth doesn't stand a chance. Now, as I've been posting things like this, I have gotten some pushback, and that's cool. I'm all good with that because I know how I was raised and what I believed and what I was taught, that if you lie, it is always something that we do willfully, that it's something that we're choosing to do, and we are never supposed to lie. We're never supposed to hedge the truth. We're always supposed to tell the truth. I mean, I remember children's songs in church and elsewhere about, always tell the truth. But then, I would see my parents or other adults lie about certain things, and they may have been considered quote unquote white lies, but it was very inconsistent. And honestly, there are people right now in high positions of power who lie continuously, and yet somehow they get away with it. But kids, they're never supposed to lie. Don't lie to me. But I want to talk to you about safety, because research from places like the Harvard Center on the Developing Child has been telling us for years that repeated harsh reactions create lasting toxic stress in kids. So the state of threat yields 0 positive outcomes. So if you think by harshly reacting because you're quote unquote serious about lying, and you think that quote unquote yelling at a kid is going to push them to tell the truth, I think you may think again about that. The state of threat impairs learning. It impairs regulation, and most importantly, trust. It doesn't build character. It builds defenses. And this is true for the child. This is true for classrooms. This is true for schools. This is true for communities. This is true for homes, because we know that when adults rewire their responses and come at this from a point of co-regulation and connections, that children actually become more prone, or more capable, I should say, to tell the truth. Now, yes, we will lie. Yes, kids want to get what they want to get, but we have to at least, for the moment, consider the role that safety and fear play in a person's ability to access parts of their brain and even their soul to be willing to tell the truth. And so when we see change, it's not because kids suddenly became angels or we somehow set them straight, but it was because we as the adults stopped acting like a storm. So here's the new lens that will save you from 99.9 power struggles. Every brain, including yours and a child's developing brain, constantly runs a microequation anytime before we speak. And that equation is this: will the cost of truth versus the cost of the lie be more or less? In other words, if the cost of telling the truth and the risk is higher than the cost of telling the lie, then we will tell the lie. And so as adults, our tone, your posture, your proximity, your first sentence, your facial expressions, those are like price tags. And I remember, now everything's kind of like priced in the code and then they have the little thing, but I remember the days when I would go to Toys R Us and I'd have $20 from my grandparents to buy anything I wanted. Imagine $20 back in that day was a lot. Nowadays, it won't even buy your family a fast food meal. But I remember, and I'd look at all the stickers, right? Look at all the stickers and be tempted sometimes to maybe even change the stickers, peel one off, put one on another toy I wanted so I could afford it. Price tags. We don't see those that much anymore, but your tone, your posture, your proximity, meaning how close you are, if you're up in their face, up in their grill, your first sentence, all of that, those are the price tags. And when we power up, we skyrocket the cost of truth, and we make the lie feel not just tempting, but necessary. Here's the good news. You own and you control the price tags. So if you change your signals and you change the math, if you lower the price of truth, you'll get more of it. And again, we can argue. Feel free to comment. Feel free to post something on social media about it. But I want you to at least try it out and see how it works. Does it mean if we're so calm and zen that kids will always tell us the truth? Of course not. We know that. but at least we have reduced the cost of truth. So let's run a tiny role play then. We're talking about the same kid, same behavior, but two different adult responses. So I want you to listen for the one that lowers the price of truth. So here's scene A. You're on YouTube again? Don't you lie to me. One last chance. Either you tell me the truth or you are grounded. Threat level? What do you think? High? Cost of truth? More than a dozen eggs. Sky high. Result? You're going to get a better lie, a bigger fight, or you're just going to get a shutdown. Scene B. Hey, pause with me. I'm not here to catch you. I'm here to help us get this right. So start from what happened, not why. Threat level, dropping. Cost of truth, lower. Now result, you're not going to be guaranteed a confession in 5 seconds. I did it. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry, Dad. No, but at least you've opened the door that the brain can actually walk through. So you don't need a 20-minute peace circle in the middle of third period or in the middle of the living room, especially after a 14-hour shift, right? What you need is a 90-second pattern interrupt that resets the moment. So here's the play, and it's easy to commit to memory because it spells out the letter C-A-L-M for the word calm. C-A-L-M. C stands for center. First, take a breath, regulate your own nervous system. And in the candy moment, I would pause, plant my feet, inhale deeply, soften my face, untense my body. This is not weakness, it's a reset. So I don't want to add any fuel to what's going on. A, affirm. You name the storm you see right in front of you with empathy, not judgment. I might crouch down a little bit and say, hey, kiddo, or whatever you say, bud or sweetie, I can see you're feeling really, really tense about this right now. And honestly, so am I. And your face looks worried because this feels big. Then L is lead with connection, not control. So instead of powering up, suggest a shared step you could take together, right? How about we take a quick breather outside together? I think that'll help us both calm down, and then we can figure this out. And then M is meet their nervous system need. This might be some space. It might be a hug. It might be just your calm presence, depending on the situation and the child, whatever is appropriate, whatever respects boundaries. And then in time, as trust builds, you start figuring out together what that nervous system need is. Sometimes you're not going to know right off the bat. But I found that when that bridge of trust and connection is built, compassion, connection, co-regulation, you figure it out together. And if your kids are younger, it could be wiping their face gently from all of that sticky candy stuff and say, let's talk when we're both ready. But I want you to know that you're safe with me. Same kid, same sticky face lie, totally different outcome. One path will always lead to the bigger storm, and the other builds this bridge to truth. And calm isn't like this fluffy kind of psychobabble stuff. No, this is a proven nervous system reset. Again, especially for kids with trauma or neurodivergent. And when you use it consistently, you start seeing change over time. Fewer blowups, more trust, more mutual respect. So I love giving you language that you can drop in as is. So here's a few that you can think about. When you see the lie forming, because you know you can see those nervous system responses start, you can say, hey, just take a pause. Let's start from what happened. Or I can see your body's tense. Mine is too. Let's take one big, deep belly breath and try it again. Sometimes the kids will double down and but I didn't do it. It was Susie or whatever. So it's, again, I hear you. Let's take about half a minute, and let our brains breathe and just be quiet. Or you can say something like, okay, we can sort this out, and you can tell me the messy version, and it's okay. When you reconvene, maybe it's thanks for taking space. And can you just share with me what your body was doing when I walked over, or when I saw the jar flipped or whatever? And what would help you to tell me what really happened faster next time? What you have to stop saying is, I'm giving you one last chance to tell the truth. That's a trap. And they know it. Their body senses it. Their interoception, their ability to read what's going on inside their bodies, their neuroception, which is their nervous system ability to detect threat or safety, it's going to spike. Don't say things like, do you think I'm stupid? Because this now shifts the focus onto you and your ego. Or because you lied, ... You're grounded for a week. Or give me your Nintendo Switch right now. I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences, but in that moment, you're teaching fear, not the skill. Punishments do not teach skills. Period. And you want your child to tell you the truth more often, then you need to teach them and model how. So let's practice. Let's say you're driving, you're keeping your eyes open, your attention's on the road. Otherwise, settle your body. So what I'm saying is, if you're driving right now, just don't crash, okay? But, if you're at home and sitting with a nice pumpkin spice latte and listening to this, then you can do that. But whatever the case, when you get the chance, here's what you want to do. Plant your feet, and you want to notice the floor under your heels. This is called grounding. You want to soften your jaw, because it gets really tense when we get tense. And you want to drop your shoulders. And we're going to inhale through the nose for 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to exhale through your mouth for 6. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, in for 4. Out for 6. And then quietly name what's going on in that moment. Mindfulness, awareness, tense, irritated, pissed off. But I'm okay. Lower your voice by 20%, maybe more. Even if you're not speaking, unclench your hand, 2 more breaths. In for 4. Out for 6. In for 4. Out for 6. Now say to yourself, lower the price of truth. Now that took probably about 45 seconds. In a real moment, those seconds are going to be the difference between a huge storm or a hurricane category 5 and an honest, respected conversation. Now let's address the elephant in the room. If I go soft, aren't I teaching them that they can lie and get away with it? So accountability matters. Accountability matters. Boundaries matter. But accountability without safety is theater. What do I mean? Accountability without safety means you will get them to act a certain way, not be a certain way. It teaches kids to perform. They perform compliance, and guess what? They learn how to hide things from you a lot better. Accountability with safety, though, teaches skills. It builds a nervous system that can tolerate discomfort and still choose truth. So here's the formula: safety first, then truth, then repair, then skill. Safety first, then truth, then repair, then skill. For example, I appreciate you telling me that took a lot of courage. And to make it right, we're putting the tablet away until your homework is done, and you're going to show me your plan for getting the assignment back on track. Next time, when you feel caught, say, I need a minute. We'll step over here into the hall, and we'll start with what happened. So you notice you're not letting anything slide, but you taught a sequence that they can actually repeat. Now, if you are, again, a teacher in an overcrowded, under-resourced classroom, if you're a parent or caregiver on your third meltdown of the night, and if you're just fried, I get it. I'm like that a lot. Use just the simple 3-sentence version. I'm taking 30 seconds so we don't make this worse. You're safe with me to tell what happened. We'll work it out together. And what happened right before this. Say those 3 quickly. That's going to buy you the space you need to respond. Remember, we're wiring this response instead of react. So, it's math. And I know most of us don't like math. But again, we lower the price of truth, we get more truth. So maybe it's you're a middle school art teacher and you can learn how to pause mid-lesson, turn to the window, trace a slow square in the air, do some box breathing, and then it doesn't take a long time. Class will know what you're doing. They'll see something going on. You can turn around and say, let's try that direction set again. Or if you're at home, again, it's not to grill. It's not to, and I've seen this, a family that I recently coached would go immediately into lecture mode, and through coaching and working together over a period of about 6 to 8 weeks, we were able to recognize the parents' nervous system states, which then helped them to co-regulate with their child and cause the cost of, in this case, maybe not doing something they were asked to do, and actually gave them the skills to do what they were being asked to do. And the transformation was phenomenal. So I don't want to bury you in a bunch of jargon, but just remember this you need to know. Your amygdala is that smoke detector fire alarm scanning for threat 24/7. And when it goes off, it's going to flood the body with stress chemicals, and the prefrontal cortex, the part you want for honesty, impulse control, reasoning, is going to get overwhelmed and not work well. So your calm voice, your soft face, your slower pace is going to signal safety, especially in this main nerve we have in our bodies called the vagus nerve. And when that senses safety because of your regulation, that's when or together regulation will happen. The thinking brain will get less overwhelmed, more able to do what it needs to do, and that's when truth becomes possible. So you don't need to argue. You just breathe them and yourself out of it. So, go-to bag, tools that you can start with right now. You ready? Grab a sticky note, pause this, and write on the sticky note, lower the price of truth and put it where you can see it. Secondly, pre-record your lines. Literally say, you're safe to tell me what happened. We will figure it out together. Out loud once a day until it starts to feel natural and authentic. Set the rule in calm waters. If either of us gets too hot, we'll take 60 seconds, we'll come back. After a hard moment, you can just debrief with 2 simple points: what escalated threat and what lowered it. And then start building a menu of repairs ahead of time. Apologize, redo, practice, repeatable practice, beat improvisational punishment every time. Okay? So, today we've been talking about the how to be the calm instead of the storm. And if you want to hear a little bit more about why this works and what it looks like on a stage, I want you to watch the live TEDx talk I gave that sparked this very episode. It's called Creating an Empathetic Approach to Children's Behavior, and you can find it right now on YouTube. You can search that title, or you can search for my name, Dr. David A. Palmer. Give it a watch, give it a like, throw in a comment, and share it with somebody. And if this podcast gave you something that'll help, share it with somebody. So when you show up the way that we've been talking about consistently, few beautiful things are going to happen, right? Kids are going to stop having to survive you, and they'll start to trust you. Honesty will stop becoming a gamble and become a habit. And your own nervous system learns that you can do hard moments without burning things to the ground, right? And this ripple effect is real. You'll see that. In schools, we see fewer referrals, fewer suspensions. At home, we see fewer blow-ups. And it's not because we go soft, but because we go strategic. So this week, here's my challenge. You ready? Pick one move and commit. The sticky note, the 3-sentence version, or the 60-second breath reset. Pick one and just do it consistently. If you forget or you don't do it, it's okay. Have grace and compassion on yourself and just keep striving to do a little bit better. And then tell me what happened. What shifted first in you? What shifted next in them? Again, just put in a comment or email me at david@drdavidapalmer.com or DM me on Instagram or Facebook. Let me know how it's going. And please, when you have a few minutes, go and watch that talk. Again, you can search it on YouTube, Creating an Empathetic Approach to Children's Behavior by Dr. David A. Palmer, and it will give you a visual anchor for this entire practice. So I'll leave you with this. Again, lower the price of truth. Be the lighthouse. Be the calm, not the storm. And know that I am so proud of the work that we all are doing. And so till next time, stop putting out fires, recognize the spark, and continue to rewire your response.